Listen to me again, Muhammad. This is very important. On the road to Damascus.
So he met Jesus.
He met Jesus, he spoke to Jesus.
Physically.
Why physically matters? Why should it be physically? If you speak, do you use a mobile phone?
He saw the Spirit of Jesus.
Do you use a mobile phone?
Jesus called him in the phone.
No, do you use a mobile phone?
Yes, I did.
And do you speak to people over mobile
Yes,
phone?
I did.
Is that a valid conversation?
Yes.
Good. Paul spoke to Jesus.
How?
Well, however, how does it matter? He spoke to Jesus. Yeah, please bring him in. Jamie, Muhammad earlier said Paul never met Jesus, never spoke to him.
Face to face.
That's what, no, face to face is a new idea that you're talking about right now. What's that?
The vision is not the same as me and stuff.
But listen to me carefully. The question I'm addressing I'm addressing two specific points.
Yeah.
In both of these points, I'm not using the word vision. Note carefully.
What do you mean?
Let me clarify. He earlier said Paul never met Jesus.
Physically.
Physically, and that he seems to think only physical meetings are interactions. Do you agree with that?
That's what meetings mean. That's what meetings mean.
Have you don't you have Zoom?
Zoom,
No, wait. Kalas. Do you meet people over internet today?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Is that a valid meeting? Yeah, good. Are you physically with them during the meeting?
But I know they're physically with me.
No. Are they physically with you? Clearly not. So no, don't ram. No, you need to be clear. No. Jamie, one second. The claim that only physical meetings are valid meetings, reliable meetings, is incorrect. If that were the case, you cannot use Zoom, can't use your mobile phone to speak to someone. None of them is reliable.
Imagine Saul, a fierce persecutor of the church, walking on the road to Damascus, fully convinced that he was defending God. Suddenly, in the heat of the midday sun, something happened that no human logic could explain. A light, phos in Greek, shone down from heaven. But this was no ordinary light. Paul would later declare that the light shone brighter than the midday sun. It was no mere flash in the sky. It was a radiant outpouring, a blaze of glory streaming straight from the divine. The scriptures use the word lampros, meaning brilliance, radiance, dazzling splendor. It wasn't a passive light. It was an active force, a streaming energy so intense that Saul fell to the ground. And what happened next? His eyes were blinded. He could not bear to gaze upon that glory. Yet behind his physical blindness lay something deeper. Saul was standing before the glory of Christ. In Hebrews 1:3, Christ is described as the apogasma tes doxis, the radiance of God's glory, not a reflection, not a borrowed shine, but the very outflow of God himself. This pattern echoes throughout the scriptures. When Moses glimpsed only a fraction of God's glory, his face shone so brightly that Israel was afraid to come near. When Isaiah saw the Lord in the temple, even the seraphim covered their faces, unable to withstand the sight. On the Mount of Transfiguration, the disciples saw the face of Jesus shine like the sun. The language is always the same: light, brilliance, radiance beyond human strength to endure. So when Paul was struck by that phos on the Damascus road, he was not merely seeing the physical figure of Jesus. He was encountering the divine energy, the living radiance of the risen Christ. That light was the glory of God himself, too overwhelming for mortal eyes to behold. That is why Saul's vision was taken from him for a time. Yet in losing his physical sight, his soul began to truly see. Later he would write in 2 Corinthians 4:6 that God made his light shine in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of God's glory displayed in the face of Christ. We could put it this way: on the road to Damascus, Saul lost his earthly sight, so that he might gain true sight. The light of Christ that blinded his eyes was the very light that finally opened them.
It's the same as meeting him.
I'm not talking about dreams right now. Is Zoom meeting a dream? Is Zoom meeting a dream? Why is he talking about a dream? I don't know. I am talking about Paul. Now, Paul on the road to Damascus saw Jesus. People around him saw Jesus. He spoke to Jesus. He asked a question, received answer. His eyes were blinded. He went further on to Damascus, and Ananias had to pray for him to be healed of his blindness. So, speaking, seeing, no, listen. See, Jamie, don't be confused by Muhammad. Muhammad, I'm giving honest facts. He's changing goalposts. Paul saw Jesus, spoke to Jesus, was healed by Jesus. All three are
No,
important.
he wasn't healed by Jesus. He wasn't healed by Jesus.
Who was he healed by?
He was healed by one of the disciples. I know that story.
Like who?
I used to be a Christian.
Can-
I used to go to church.
Good, well done.
I know that one. I know that story. It wasn't Jesus who was healed by.
Come here.
I know that one.
He called you.
He smelled bright light. He went
called
blind.
him.
He went
Jamie.
blind.
I thought it was.
Jamie, you're a lovely
I
man.
remember that story from
Jamie, you're a
last
lovely man.
fool.
Jamie, you're a lovely man. You need to come back to Jesus Christ. Jamie, you're a lovely man. Jamie, you're a lovely man.
He's a lovely man.
You need to
Because
come.
he called
He
you.
is.
Because he called
No,
you.
he genuinely is a lovely man. Now, Jamie, now answer me right now. Jamie, answer me. Could, Jamie, answer me. Could Ananias heal out of his own volition? Can he heal?
No, it's through God.
Ah, well done. And so, it is not the disciple.
Only God. So Jesus can't heal. Because Jesus Christ is the Son of God. He's not God. He's a prophet sent by God to deliver a message.
And he can help. By the
Can a prophet,
Of Jesus Christ.
can a prophet speak from heaven?
What?
Can a prophet speak from heaven?
Can a prophet speak from heaven?
Well, can a prophet speak from heaven? Simple question.
More than likely not. He's a human being.
No, not
the
more than
only
like.
speak every the dead.
So, now, after they are gone from this world, can they speak from heaven?
In the knowledge of God, we don't know. We
No,
don't
I'm
know.
asking
we
him.
Dead. We don't know.
Oh, Jamie, the one you read, the Bible you read, what does it say as to what happened to Paul? On the road to Damascus, who spoke to him? From heaven, who spoke?
Could it be the devil? Could be someone.
No, I'm asking him. No, wait. Muhammad, I'm asking him. Muhammad, you don't know the Bible, he has read the Bible. Let's listen to him, please. Jamie, what did you read in the Bible? Who did Paul speak to from heaven? Whose was the voice? Answer. Now he has gone quiet. There we go.
He didn't see him.
Ah, that's not the question asked.
The Bible told
Jamie, that's not the question asked. The question asked was, Jamie, that's not the question asked. The question asked was, could a prophet speak from heaven after he had left the world?
He wasn't killed. Everyone knows Jesus Christ didn't die.
You're answering a question which was never asked.
Same way he's going to come back.
Jamie,
Same way he's going to come
you
back.
are an expert right now in answering a question which was never asked. That's not the question I asked. The question I asked was simple.
What is the question?
Could a prophet speak from heaven after he had left the world?
If God allowed it.
Oh, there we go. How many of the prophets have done that?
We don't know. We didn't die. We don't know.
Do you believe in prophets speaking from heaven?
We don't know.
If Jesus were only a prophet, then we must ask, has there ever been another prophet in history who spoke from heaven after his death? This is where the uniqueness of Jesus stands out. In the Bible, the prophets certainly received revelations from God. Moses at Sinai, Isaiah in the vision of the temple, Jeremiah through the word of the Lord that came to him. But the pattern was always the same. They heard God. Never did they themselves speak from heaven once they had passed. In all of Jewish and Israelite tradition, not one prophet rose, ascended, and continued speaking from heaven to mankind. When Paul encountered the light on the road to Damascus, he did not merely see a cosmic flash. He heard a personal voice. I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting. That means it was Jesus himself speaking from heaven, not an angel, not the echo of a dead prophet. If Jesus were only an ordinary prophet, this would make no historical sense, for no prophet has ever acted this way. Instead, this aligns perfectly with the witness of the gospel. Jesus is not merely a prophet, but the risen Messiah, glorified at the right hand of God, with the authority to address directly from heaven. Paul explains in Acts 22 that he was blinded because of the glory of that light, apotes doxes 2 photos. In other words, it wasn't just brightness that struck him down, but the overwhelming glory of Christ himself. His blindness was not simply the effect of dazzling brightness. It was the sign that he was standing in the presence of Christ's own glory. Later, in 2 Corinthians 4:6, Paul connects this experience to the work of new creation. The same God who once said, "Let light shine out of darkness," has now made his light shine in our hearts to give us the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Christ. In other words, Paul's physical blindness became the very path through which his true eyes, his spiritual eyes, were opened. When Muslims insist that Jesus is nothing more than a prophet, they fall into a dilemma. If they deny the voice of Jesus from heaven, then they must explain why the Quran itself declares that Isa was taken alive into the presence of God, Quran 3:55, 4:158. If Isa is alive in the presence of God, why should it be impossible for him to speak? More ironically, medieval Islamic traditions in Tafsir and Hadith even name Paul, John, Johanna, and Cephas, Kephas, Peter, as disciples of Isa. But these accounts arose centuries after Muhammad's death, borrowed secondhand from Christian tradition rather than rooted in contemporary evidence. In other words, even the Islamic sources that attempt to mention the disciples of Jesus stand on shaky ground. The point is unmistakable. Throughout history, not a single prophet has ever spoken from heaven after his death. None, except Jesus. Only Jesus did this, and that is powerful evidence that he is far more than a prophet. He is the living glory of God, the risen Messiah, and it was that very light which blinded Paul's eyes for a moment, so that, in the end, he might truly see.